Thank you so much. Next, we have approval of the November 26, 2018 minutes. Were there any changes or corrections that were substantive?
No, and I want to compliment Deb on the clarity with which that she rendered them very efficiently. I move to accept them.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much. Next on the agenda, we have citizens' comments, and these are for items that are not on the agenda. So if you have any comment, please come to the podium, give your name and address, and take it away. Okay, we'll wait. 1, 2, 3. Okay, yes, that's not. Okay, so next we have the Carroll County and Town Planners. First of all, we have the Carroll County Bike Ped Master Plan Certification, Linda Eisenberg. Or Arco, are you doing it for her?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, planning commissioners. Ms. Claire Stewart, one of our planning staff members, have been working really hard on putting together the bicycle pedestrian master plan. And the packets of information might look familiar to you. It's chapters 3 and 4 of the bike ped plan. Chapter 3, existing conditions, and chapter 4, future connections. Existing conditions, basically a detailed inventory of what type of infrastructure is on the ground, not only by the county, but also by our corresponding municipalities as well. And future connections is an overall network design plan of what we would like to see in the upcoming years. These chapters were approved by the town of Mount Airy several months back before we brought it over to our planning commission. But now we need to go back and get an official certification of these 2 chapters before we can move forward with the process. And I was hoping we can get that certificate signed so we can move forward with this master plan.
Thank you. This is really nice. I mean, of course,
Yeah.
I just kind of singled into the Mount Airy stuff. I'm sorry, other towns, but
As you should.
I had no idea that we've got approximately, according to this, 12.6 miles of trails either already in existence or are planned, anticipated.
I know, that was nice.
That's significant. I love the fact that it's basically, it crosses the entire community, east to west, north to south.
Any other comments for commissioners? Well, then if, I have already signed the certification.
Thank you.
It's over that way.
Okay,
But this is very, very impressive, and wow,
thank you.
nice place. If we had time, we could go explore other places in the county, but I guess I'll do Mount Airy first. Thank you so much, Rocco.
For the record, should we
Do you want to vote on it?
move to approve it? So I make a motion that we approve.
Oh, hold on, Roxanne, hold on. Here, Pat?
Coming in late, Pat Rockberg, Mayor, there was some concern from the Nottingham community that their bike trails or their trails were interconnected with this plan. Did they get removed?
Believe they did.
Can we double check that before you authorize it?
Well, it's
apologies.
not on here.
Okay, I just remember hearing about it months ago and
Yeah.
just caught
It's
it.
not on here.
Yep.
Carroll County's doing something very similar.
Make sure Nottingham
This is
is
Frederick
not,
County.
they did not want their pass included.
No, this is Carol.
That's a separate topic from this.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is Carroll County?
Yes.
This is both,
It's both, but
both. Because Mount Airy is both.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, so Roxanne,
So
sorry.
I can move to accept and the certification for the bike path.
All those,
I'll second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Nice job.
Next, we have the Frederick County Planner, Tim Goodfellow. Tim, I don't see you here. Okay, sorry you missed us. Okay, so next we have, and you guys, John, you're going to be, should I stop for a minute, or you guys?
I'm sorry.
No, I just don't, I want to make you continue your conversation. Next, we have a special request. It's the 3 replacement order board located at McDonald's at 1706 Ridgeside Drive. As the applicant's direction from the Planning Commission. And is the applicant here?
Yes.
Would you mind coming and give your name, please?
Tracy Deal, TRACEYDIEHL.
and I live in Canal Winchester, Ohio.
Ooh,
And thank you for coming.
Wow.
And I wasn't here at the last meeting, so anyone want to jump into what your concerns were?
Well, the main concern was that there was no one here from the applicant to speak on anything that we might have, and we felt that, I'm sorry you had to come such a far way,
I
but,
don't mind. It's beautiful here, so I'm
Thank you.
happy to be here.
but we felt that we needed to have someone here to answer some questions that we might have.
So the menu boards that are proposed for McDonald's are digital in nature, being that they are essentially a Samsung television turned vertically and rated for outdoor use. The menus, however, would not be your typical digital sign with the expectation that most people consider digital signs to be animated, scrolling, or flashing. These are static images. So the menu boards would basically just replace the paper menus. And so the images would be crisper, clearer, they wouldn't be collapsing, they wouldn't be falling, the lighting wouldn't be changing. The menu boards are programmable, and they will change 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, in the blink of an eye. But they will not have any animated copy or any flashing or scrolling copy. So that should relieve some concern on that part of the electronic message type sign. The other concern would be size. These menu boards are a substantial reduction compared to what's currently in place. The menu boards that are in place are approximately 45 square feet in size. These double panel menu boards are 19.79 square feet in size. So it's almost a 50% reduction in square footage. Overall, they enhance the appearance of the property. They provide citizens with a clear picture of what they're trying to buy, so it should reduce stacking in the drive-through, because it should provide an image that's clear, that's easily read, that could allow people to get through the drive-through quicker. So there are some safety features that it would contribute to in the actual motion of traffic going through the drive-through at any given time of the day. The other thing is that because the menus are programmable, it should avoid the items that are potentially out of stock or not available at that time being on the menu, which would delay somebody from getting through the drive-through. So that does help the citizens that are going through the drive-through to be able to order what is available. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about the menu boards.
right, so these are strictly in the drive-through lanes.
Yes,
And they're oriented to actually be perpendicular to the lane of
Yes.
traffic through those. So they're not going to be visible or be a potential distraction out on the neighboring streets
that is correct.
and roads. Okay, and that sometimes is a concern for us when we're talking about electronic signage. Okay,
And they do auto dim in
Yes.
the evening, right?
Yes, and if the planning commission were to see them installed and not be happy with the brightness on them, you could request for them to be dimmed. So that it is programmable, it can be adjusted.
have you installed these in other McDonald's locations?
I personally have 1,900 sites on my plate right now. So there's 14,000 McDonald's locations in the United States. All of them are being redone. Every single one of them.
I'd love to have that contract.
It's, yeah.
So similar to what the McDonald's is at Newmarket, is that what we're kind of looking at, or you probably wouldn't know?
I don't know if Newmarket replaced theirs yet,
It
but I
looks
know
like
that we do have a whole bunch of sites in
Okay.
Maryland that have been done. So it is possible. I did not glance at the list of completed Maryland sites.
I know that when you order, it also flashes back through. I mean, it's very clear what your order is, and you can see it.
Yes.
Okay.
If you were able to identify any other Maryland sites, somewhat close by, that might be implementing theirs, so we could get a chance to see it, although I don't think there's going to be a concern. But
I could provide a list to staff. I just submitted today for 2 in Washington County. I know that we have nearly a dozen in Baltimore County. There were several in Worcester County that were done probably in August timeframe. So those are the ones that are off the top of my head. I Expedite the Deal is my company. We are the permit expediting company that is processing this. We work directly for the company that manufactures the signs, the Coates Group, and Bailiwick is their project management team. My company alone, and I run this permit expediting company, I have 20 employees. So my company alone, we have hundreds of sites. I have no idea where all of the sites are, but I know that we have the Maryland region. So there's probably at least another 30 sites that I could think of that have already been done. And then there's several that have been scheduled for the spring.
Are there any other concerns or questions for Tracy?
If we gave you a thumbs up tonight, what would be the approximate timing for this
Well,
installation?
my understanding is that these are scheduled for footings to go in next month, weather permitting. And then the boards typically go in after the concrete has had time to cure. So the way that they do it is they go in, they put in footings adjacent to the old footings, allow the concrete time to cure, then they come back and they bolt down the boards. And they take the old boards out and the old footings out.
Any other concerns or questions? Anyone want to make a recommendation on this?
So is it a recommendation or a motion?
Approval.
We're
Approval.
looking for
Right.
approval.
Recommendation.
It's not
It's a sign permit that came in, but
Right, right,
because
right.
we're in the transition period right now, it was brought to you just for informational purposes and also for you to make the decision, because it's
I'll
not
make a
in my
motion.
authority currently.
I would make a motion that the planning commission approve the proposed replacement of the existing menu boards with the proposed menu boards at the McDonald's.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you so much, and thank you for coming from Ohio. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, next on the agenda, we have a rezoning request. DMS Development LLC, case 201901. John, want to go ahead and present the staff report?
Sure. It's a very small staff report because I'm letting the applicant actually present their case to you guys. So on that behalf, Mr. Bowersox, please go to the mic and introduce yourself. Please go to the mic and introduce yourself.
Good evening. It's nice to be with you tonight. I'm Dave Bowersox, and I'm kind of a stranger down here these days. There was a time when there was a lot more activity down here that would bring me down. I had clients doing a number of projects. But I'm here tonight on behalf of DMS Development. Pardon me. Mr. Dave Schlockman and Wendy Kreitz from DMS are here with us tonight. I'd also like to introduce Mark Keelty, who is with our traffic consultant. He has a little bit of an animation that probably is the best way to exemplify the projected impact that we would foresee for the specifics of the proposal if we're successful. And Marty Hackett from CLSI is also here with us tonight. They're the civil engineers that we are hoping to work with to bring this project to a fruition. This is what lawyers would call a Euclidean rezoning request. It's a request for rezoning that's based on the change or mistake standard as it's known in Maryland law. I'm not going to bore you with a whole lot of those details, but essentially what it means is outside of the cycle of a comprehensive rezoning or a comprehensive plan revision, there are opportunities for individual property owners to bring a matter before ultimately the town council. It's a legislative act, so they're the final arbiters of these things. One of the stops on the way is in front of a planning commission to get a recommendation one way or the other. But it's an opportunity for an individual property owner to make a request for the rezoning of their property if they can show to the satisfaction of the town council that there's either been a substantial change in the character of the neighborhood or that there has been a mistake or misapprehension about the nature of the property that was assumed as the most recent comprehensive rezoning went through. That's the pitch that we are going to be making. We believe that the facts are there for a change argument. We also feel that the mistake argument is compelling. And before I go too far, mistake is not something that means incompetence. It doesn't mean someone has done something terribly wrong. It basically means that when the property was rezoned, there was no real solid understanding of the true nature of what that property was all about. and how it could be utilized, how it may not be able to be utilized with its current zoning. And that's what it is. The law defines mistake as a basic and actual misapprehension or misunderstanding of the true nature and character of the property as it relates to the zoning that it's in. So that's what that's about. The property we're talking about is the Vossloh property. It's property that's effectively at the corner of Route 27 and Interstate 70. I'm sure you're all somewhat familiar with it. It's vacant at the present time. That corner, right at the corner of the interstate and 27 is vacant. It's shown on the tax maps as parcel 1116, and interestingly enough, there's an old residence built around 1900 on the southernmost tip of the Vossloh property down towards where the dead end is by the, I think it's 27 there, or maybe that is the interstate.
That's the interstate.
But if you look at the tax map, it shows the property effectively being severed. It shows it as two parcels. So in any event, in aggregate, the Vossloh property is 5 acres. We're asking for the rezoning of all of it. DMS is a contract purchaser. DMS intends to take the roughly 2.7 acres of the Vossloh property, if we're successful, which is the northern or northeastern, if you want to call it, portion of that property. And they'd like to take that for development purposes to create a Wawa convenience store. We're seeking a rezoning from the RE residential existing zone to the CC commercial zoning district. The property is bounded on the northeast by South Main Street and lies across South Main Street from its intersection with Ridgeside Drive. DMS will submit the necessary permits, permit requests and applications if we are successful with the rezoning to move it forward. We prepared a summary statement with a number of exhibits, and I'm not going to stand here and just, for all of our benefit, read through the summary statement. I'm going to highlight some of the points in it. The Vossloh property has been RE for some period of time. Significantly, it doesn't show up much in any of the discussion in the 2003 comprehensive plan or the 2013 comprehensive plan. There's been no real direct examination of it, which quite frankly is not a surprise and it's not unusual during those processes. We prepared a sketch. Our Exhibit A shows the neighborhood that we contend is applicable for this rezoning request. One of the things that an applicant has to do is they have to show you a neighborhood. The neighborhood is effectively property within the town proper, the incorporated limits of the town. One of the things we have to talk to you about, or one of the matters that state law requires in these rezonings, is for the council to make certain findings, including population. We've provided you your population number as of 2017 and shown, I believe it's a 5.3% increase from the 2010 census. The rate of growth this town experienced, 40-some percent between 2000 and 2010, is reflected in the census, has stopped, and it's pretty much flattened out. So that's reflected in there. One of the things that a successful application here will bring is some very positive economic impact for the town. In general, when Wawa opens one of these stores, there's an initial investment of, on average, of $6 million in a site. It's anticipated a store like this would generate 30 to 40 jobs, new jobs. Employees own 41%, on average, own 41% of the company through employee stock ownership programs. So it is a very, very employee-oriented employer. And along with this, you've got an obvious increase in the rateable tax base of commercial property by comparison to the vacant, unusable lot under RE zoning that you have presently. We have, is this the amount? Yeah. This is a large version. Pardon? Could you please? Mr. Hackett's got a large mounted version of a rendering that we submitted with the statement, the summary statement. What's proposed will be, this is representative of if we're successful, what you'd be seeing. Wawa, like Sheetz and like many of these other businesses, have their own branding, their own signature colors, all those sorts of things. And so you would anticipate to see this. This is the newer prototype, if I can say that, David,
Can you bring it around a little bit this way?
for the Wawa stores
Well,
that
we
you'll
have a
see.
copy of it.
So it would have the gas station, right?
There will be gas pumps available. It's not designed as a tractor-trailer fueling site.
Right.
Retail gasoline sales, no diesel. Correct. All right, no diesel sales.
They have diesel, but it's not for trucks.
All right.
Oh, for-
It's not commercial diesel, it's, okay. So we provided within the package, Exhibit C1 and C2 reflect some of the economic impact based on what DMS has found in their experience with these projects. It's anticipated this should yield to the town. Vossloh property is located within a municipal state priority funding area. The significance of that is that it allows a request to state government to assist with critical infrastructure, municipal infrastructure. So it's another way of achieving some of the infrastructure that would accompany this and have a broader impact for the municipality. According to the 2017 Water and Sewer Master Plans, the site is in the existing final planning category for both water and sewer services. We've been at this for several months. We've had meetings with Bernie and others from the town during that time. It appears from those early conversations that given our projected utilization of water and sewer, there should be available capacity in the system. I'm going to defer. I'm not going to talk to you about the traffic. I'm going to let Mark Keelty explain that. He has a graphic that is going to do a much better job than I ever could standing here. I will tell you that the projections that have been made by Traffic Concepts, Inc. show that as part of the improvement of this site, as we propose, the traffic mitigation and the other traffic features are going to result in a net positive. The functional level of service would actually operate at a better level of service with the project built than you have now in that local traffic infrastructure. And Mark is going to be able to explain that and show that to you in a way better than I can. So when we look at the analysis of this, some of the rest of the package you'll see, during the 2013 comprehensive plan, it's indicated that the Vossloh property, including the corner we've been talking about, is residentially used. That property is not residentially used. There's an indication in the comprehensive plan as well that there is no additional development potential available on RE zone property. If we, as RE property, that's probably true specifically for this site. Given its location, given the fact that it's severed effectively from the rest of its property, residential development at that site is just not feasible. So right now you've got a non-used piece of property that is certainly not generating anything close to its highest and best use from a planning perspective. It's essentially an infill site. There's also one of the exhibits that we attached is the plan, when I say the plan, I mean the 2013 comprehensive plan, regionalism policies map, which essentially shows a number of gateway locations coming into the town. Now, the southernmost of those gateways is, by my calculations, less than 400 feet from this site. So traffic coming off of 27 would encounter, heading towards that gateway, on the left side, a Wawa store, if we can move forward with the project. A viable, commercial, profitable enterprise generating public revenue. The traffic improvements that we propose, we believe, would also integrate quite well with the comprehensive plan's vision for that gateway location. And since the comprehensive plan was adopted, and since your most recent comprehensive rezoning, the downtown master plan area has also been expanded to include the Beck property. So you've got that additional acreage of almost 90 acres coming in for consideration as part of that. So all of these things working together would seem to benefit from the improvements that a project such as we're proposing can bring that are already mentioned. Now, we believe, as is outlined in this summary, that based on what we've gleaned from the language of the 2013 comprehensive plan, that there was a basic misapprehension about the nature of the Vossloh property and a basic misunderstanding of its suitability and its particular uses, highest and best use, et cetera, that are ill-reflected with the RE zoning. In other words, we believe there is compelling indication that, technically speaking, there was that misapprehension or mistake that allows for the council to consider this site for rezoning. And we submit that given the orientation of this site facing northward to adjoining CC zone property, given the limited residential potential that it has, given what it can bring to the town traffic infrastructure, we believe it just makes sense that this be considered as CC zoning. If you look at the rest of that southern CC block, CC zoning block, this is the only spot, the only intersection that is zoned anything other than CC. There is no rational reason for that other than this is how it's always been zoned. There's not. So I'll leave you with that. The information in the summary statement is somewhat substantial. I've just tried to accentuate a few of the points. I'd ask Mark. Mark, are you ready to demonstrate with the traffic?
Can we ask questions before that,
Sure.
Madam Chair? I just have a couple of questions. You indicated that there was a mistake in the zoning, but that to me infers that we actually changed the zoning when we went through the master plan process, which we did not do.
Are you asking me a question?
Well, no one presented to us during that process
A request for change.
and asked us to change the zoning.
Correct.
So there's no mistake because we weren't asked to change. I'm just like making a
and
statement.
that's what I was trying to say before. Mistake.
We call it what you want. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
It
it's
was already zoned RE and nobody came to us through the process and asked us to change it. So I guess I'm making a statement. That's
Well,
all.
and again, I want to reiterate, I'm not here blaming you
Right.
or
No, I
any other
understand.
member of the
I just wanted to
commission
clarify. I
that this
understand.
remains languishing in a zoning category where nothing can happen positively with this property. All I'm saying is that a lot of times with these mistakes, they're not based on positive action. They're based on a misapprehension. In other words, we just don't really understand what's going on with this property. It happens not infrequently. So all I'm trying to say is this: the choice of vernacular in the name of the rule is unfortunate.
Right. I just wanted to clarify that. And I have two other questions. John, were the close by residences notified of this?
We didn't notify him by cards, but I did post the property 2 weeks ago.
Okay. And my other question, and I'd probably have to look this up, but in terms of the neighborhood professional and limited commercial, are there properties that are zoned in that manner between this property and the residential? Does anybody know? We probably have to check that.
I think that whole area is zoned RE,
Okay.
except for on the other side of South Main,
Okay.
which is all CC, if I'm not mistaken.
It's not.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
That's correct. That's correct. What John just mentioned is correct.
Any other questions?
Well, I kind of have a
Bob,
statement.
can you put your microphone down?
Sorry
Thank
about
you.
that. I kind of have a statement here that I have to make. I will have to abstain from voting in this situation. My wife, Terry King, worked for DMS for years.
Okay.
And so I just don't think I should be voting in this. I know there's at least one other DMS, it was somewhere on the Eastern Shore, but this is a small company with 4 people. I've always owned it. The name that comes to mind is Bowersox.
Yes.
Do you know Terry King?
No.
Probably 10 years ago. She was a graphic artist.
Okay.
You were a printing firm?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm a lawyer in private practice. I'm sorry.
Joe,
There's days I wish I was a printer.
I was sitting here, I was sitting here looking at this thinking, well, if you are not that John Bowersox down in Frederick, and I
No.
never
No.
met you,
No, I'm David.
okay,
He's in Westminster.
okay. Well, I withdraw that then.
You're free to vote as far as I'm concerned.
Roxanne, you have questions?
It was just a little bit of a concern when you mentioned the Beck property and it coming into the downtown zone. Not all of the Beck property is, so that kind of, that's a totally different situation than this, and I don't want us to go in that direction. This is totally a separate issue, so
You
I just.
also have a very, very different traffic volume
Yep.
between I-70 and in that area, what we're talking about, versus when you get up to Twin Arch Road and just north of that, where Center Street Extension, would connect with 27. It's significantly different. It's upwards of 8,000 to 10,000 car trips a day different.
Yeah, we need to hear from the traffic guy and see what.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions before we hear from the traffic gentleman?
Are you ready, Mark?
Thank you.
Just go ahead,
Good evening, my name is Mark Healy. I'm a project manager with Traffic Concepts Incorporated. Our company was hired to conduct the traffic impact study. Let me just briefly go through the traffic study. We counted 3 intersections, Main Street at Ridgeside, Main Street at Ridgeville, and then 27 at Main Street. So we collected traffic counts during the weekday peak hours, 7 a.m. to 9, 4 p.m. to 6, and then on Saturday from 11 to 2. And these hours are the typical peak hours that are required by State Highway Administration. We forecast trips to get a future traffic volume, which is one of 3 analysis that we do. We conduct an existing analysis on the existing peak hour traffic. We conduct another analysis on the background volumes, and then we include the future traffic volumes. In this case, it's based on a convenience store that's roughly 5,000 square feet in size with vehicle fueling positions. What I want to concentrate tonight is the access. And you heard Mr. Bowersox say that the proposal to construct an access on Main Street opposite Ridgeside actually improves the existing situation. The Ridgeside intersection to Main Street is, as everyone knows, is unsignalized. So in the peak hours, the left turn volumes have undue delay. So that's a failing movement. What we propose is to construct a traffic signal that would be hardwired with the existing signal on Maryland 27. So the two signals, albeit they're located in close proximity with each other, about 300 feet, the two signals would be coordinated. They would work together off of a computer. And the volumes are such that the new signal works rather well. I have a few exhibits. I didn't make enough copies, but they show the lane use, the traffic signal, and the volumes at the top right corner are the future volumes with the store and the background. When I mentioned the volumes set up rather nicely for the traffic signal, the heavy volume is along 27 turning right onto Main Street, and then the through volumes from the westbound off-ramp into town, northbound on Main Street. The opposing volumes from Main Street turning left onto 27 are quite low, as are the right turning volumes from 27 turning onto Main Street. So the signal phasing would be designed that the heavy movements along 27 would flow through the intersection. The traffic signal would control the volumes from the Wawa and from Ridgeside rather. So they would have a red. We revised the pavement markings to show a short left turn lane from Main Street onto 27. As you can see in the upper right hand corner, the volumes turning left from Main Street are quite low in all peak hours. And then we have a left turn bay into the site. And that left turn bay is designed to fit the queue, the peak hour queue generated by the site. All of this, the traffic signal, the pavement marking plans, has to be reviewed by State Highway Administration. With the traffic signal, we have a decel lane. If you're coming southbound on Main Street, turn in left into the site. There's a decel lane into the site. There's no acceleration from the site because it's a local road. That right turn is going to be controlled by the signal. And what you want vehicles leaving the site. You don't want them turning right and then merging into traffic. It's best and it's safer if they wait for a gap to make that right turn. The analysis is done with the Synchro model. It's a complex model that considers the two traffic signals, signal phasing. It includes the existing traffic and the forecasted traffic volumes. The State Highway Administration requires this analysis, and they use it for new signals to understand how a signal can work in an existing system or how a signal can work on its own. So if I may, I can start the analysis. This analysis that I'm going to show is the worst peak hour in the AM PM Saturday. So this is the PM weekday peak hour.
It'll just take a second for it to warm up.
Okay.
Didn't want to be blinding you, so.
That's okay. So this is going to show the new system, how it's going to function with the existing system, and again, it's going to have the future volumes.
Thanks, Carl.
So essentially, this is a movie clip that we have that we copied from the model, and you can see the heavy movement here is that northbound Maryland 27 left turn, and the signal just switched to accommodate the through movements. And then you can also see the Main Street, I guess that's eastbound, right turn movement onto 27 southbound. So those are the two heavy movements. And again, it works well because this movement, this left turn movement is very light. And then this right turn movement is very light. So this is the failing movement now, the left turn coming out of Ridgeside, that fails due to heavy volume on Main Street.
So can I ask, so when you're in, if you were to get gas and come back, you would go onto, it would be very convenient to go onto 70 westbound.
It would,
Right.
and the majority of trips for this type of use are pass-by trips, so they're gonna make a right into the site,
Right.
and they're gonna make a right out.
Right. So what I was wondering is the flow in the morning. I do this every morning for the last 19 years. So if you make a right on there as you're getting towards the site, you're going on 108, and then you're going into the Wawa. Do you expect any potential backup? Because a lot of people aren't getting. This would be the most accessible gas station, leaving Mount Airy going west towards Frederick. So I could see a significant volume making that right turn, which no one has any reason to do now. And you would get the gas and then get on 70. I was wondering if there was any prediction of the backup in the right lane there, and then getting that right where your cursor is, trying to make a left, because it'll be significant. And you couldn't use current traffic patterns to predict that, because there's no reason to make
Yep.
that right turn now.
Okay, now you see it.
Well, we do a traffic distribution, and we do our best to try to predict
Sure.
traffic. But this scenario here, we have it as back-to-back left turn movements. I mean, this could be a two-way center turn lane. If this queue, this is about 115, 120 feet now, but because this left turn movement, it's about one vehicle per cycle. It's not much, so you could create a two-way center turn lane here to accommodate, future queue that you're talking about.
Well,
Right.
that's a fairly modest volume now, unless there were people getting off of 70, planning to go north on 27, but they saw the opportunity to pull off and get gas. So they made a left to come in, and made two lefts, they got their gas, then they came back, and they had to make a left to get back going north on 27. That would be incremental usage of that left turn, which is a problem now.
mean,
That
I'm
would
on
be
the-
the only usage of that left turn, because you can't go straight, you'll be going on to 70 the wrong way.
Right.
Okay, so the only thing you can use that left turn lane for is to turn left
Right.
onto 27.
But I think a lot of people would make that right off of 27 and then that left into there and then skip it and go over to Frederick. It'll be significant because,
I'm on that westbound every single evening.
Yeah.
And it is already significant.
yeah.
And there's a great deal of traffic coming off of 808 and going, making that left down. It's not just one car per cycle. I'm seeing
And there
that
is
light.
confusion at that light.
There
When you're
is.
coming off of that exit from the Baltimore, when you're coming, if you're going west and you come off of the ramp, when you stop at that stop sign, there's huge confusion with the lanes right now as they are. We've
Almost been
tried
hit many
to,
times.
we've tried to talk to the state about that because there's a lot of confusion there and a lot of accidents happen there.
Head on.
The traffic signal that's going to is proposed at the site, does it have right-hand turn, left-hand turn? Does it like cycle 6 times? How is that gonna work?
Right now, it would have a right turn and then a left, you're gonna have very few trips from the site that are gonna go straight across to Ridgeside. So, I mean, the 2 lanes, based on the analyses and based on our experience with these types of stores, satisfactorily handles the peak hour trips, 2 outbound lanes.
Could we talk through your traffic counts
Sure.
and projections on this? Okay, what's the specific AM and PM and the Saturday time is, you said
So-
11 to 2?
Yeah, with AM, we count from 7 AM to 9 AM, and somewhere in that time period is the peak 1 hour. And then we count from 4 PM to 6 PM, and that there's, the peak 1 hour lies in that 2-hour time period. And then Saturday, we count from 11 AM to 2 PM.
Okay. So you've got 3 sets of numbers then, and then you've got the arrows. So in terms of the largest numbers I'm seeing, for example, okay, at the site access, we've got 507 vehicles on a Saturday between 11 to 2 during some hour in that time frame. That's one of the larger numbers.
That 507, you have 507, and then the number in parentheses, 334,
Uh-huh.
and then the next one,
Two-
296. So the 507 is the AM, the parentheses.
So it's not AM and then PM and then Saturday.
It's AM, PM, then Saturdays in the brackets.
What's the sequence?
It's AM, PM, Saturday.
Saturday. See, this is.
Okay, so
The
it's,
first-
see
the
it
first
well.
number
It's not-
approaches-
Can I ask the planning commission, are they addressing a site plan right now, or even a
No.
conceptual plan? Or are you looking at a
No,
rezoning
they-
request?
No.
'Cause you're really getting into the weeds on a site plan that you haven't even got to the zoning yet. Judy and Leslie brought up 2 good points, whatever you all decide, that you don't want to do, you're breaking a block, and you don't want to do commercial right next to residential. So if you do decide that this might be a good candidate, make sure you put some buffering zones, and I think that's where you 2 were very wisely headed. But you all are getting deep into a site plan review right now. I'm just a little surprised.
I'm sorry, I thought they were asking questions about how the traffic, the analysis of the data, so
that's exactly what
I
we were.
misinterpreted.
So, sir, if I can, the first numbers approaching the intersection, they are the AM. And then the second set of numbers approaching the intersection are PM, and then the last are the Saturday volumes.
That's what I asked.
Okay, thank
That's what
you.
I thought.
Any other questions? Sure, Carl, come on up, please.
Quick question.
Do you come to the podium now?
I'm not going to do any site plan, so I was concerned with that too. They were delving, all this presentation stuff was delving into a site plan a little bit more than what
Okay,
it
Carl, your
needs
name
to be.
and,
Just,
Name is coming.
Talk.
Carl Munder, 2002 Fieldbrook Lane, Mount Airy, Maryland. My question is, for the site plan, you said there's 5 acres total. You're rezoning 2.7 for the use of the Wawa, but you want the 5 acres totally rezoned for the commercial zoning. What are the future plans for the remaining 3 acres that are commercially zoned there?
That's going to be up to the Boswell family.
So there is more potential for more commercial development to come into that corner,
Which corner are you talking about?
where the Wawa is, the 5 acres total land.
I'm going to try to answer your question.
No, I'm just saying, it's like, it is a potential for commercial, another commercial use to come there after Wawa.
no,
it is.
I don't know that if the Wawa is built as it's proposed, that there would be enough land on that northeastern portion of the property to realistically fit another use.
Okay.
Sounds like
There's,
it.
I'm just,
go ahead, David.
because in Frederick, when they sold the police station, I was up there today, over the weekend, there's a Medical Express in the back corner.
Talking about Route 40 and.
Yeah, the old state
Bachman's Lane.
police station. So there could be another smaller commercial use
Yeah.
put there,
Yeah,
up in the corner.
yeah. So the other, if you don't
No, I'm
No, go ahead,
just,
come to
I'm
this
just
podium.
trying to say, site plan, if you're doing 5 acres, there's a
If you could come to the podium, sir, that'd be great.
there's 3 acres of, or 2 acres, or whatever, unspoken for.
And so.
Could you
we
identify
had-
yourself, sir?
I'm sorry.
Could you just
David
identify-
Schlockman from DMS Development, Towson, Maryland.
Okay.
We actually looked at, buying the whole property. I don't know if you guys have been there and sort of looked at the land and looked at the topography of the land. It's quite difficult and quite expensive to develop there, and that's why we opted out of it. But there may be somebody interested in it, in that piece, not us. And so but that's not to say that if you rezone the property, that someone might try to do something with it. I just looked at the economics and looked at the demographics, not demographics, the topography, and we didn't want to,
Okay, so you
it's
only
really
purchased the 2.7?
We only purchased ours,
Okay.
but we did, and if you see, I don't know if it's in your charts, we did leave an access in case they would ever want to do anything with that property. What they might do, I have no idea.
Okay.
So,
Thanks for the clarification.
I guess it's a question for Mr. Bowersox. So you're requesting a rezoning on the 2.7 acres, the remaining, so essentially what you're requesting, I don't know if I'm asking the right person, is a rezoning, and then you're subdividing off of that. That's what you're doing, correct?
It ultimately may require a subdivision, yes.
Well, you're dividing a piece of property.
Correct,
Okay,
correct.
okay.
Now, I have not done any extensive title examination of this or any other evaluation of any of the historical boundaries to know if there's an existing boundary that would allow this to be split off. But if there's not, then it would imply there's going to have to be some sort of a subdivision.
Any other questions?
I have a comment.
Okay, thank you, sir, I appreciate.
So my comment is that it may be a good project, but I couldn't vote to change zoning right now because I think we need to research to make sure we're consistent with the code in terms of neighborhood professional or limited
There's several questions.
commercial. So I think that, and if something has to be amended, if the town council has to amend the code in order to make that happen, that's a possibility. But currently, I think we'd be in violation of the code if we rezone this property right now.
Yeah.
If we recommended rezoning.
On what basis?
Thank you.
I'm not sure.
Well, first off, we don't have any of the comments.
Right.
I meant
the people
because of the
around.
neighborhood professional.
Yeah, partially because of the
prior
neighborhood professional
buffer.
and the way that it's written in our code. We need to research that and make sure that we're not improperly doing this. And I mean, that's the most important thing to us. It's a good plan, but we want to make sure that it goes through properly.
And I'd hope you would.
So that's why we need that research. Plus, I need to hear the comments of the local, the public that lives close there. We don't have that.
That's fine.
And excuse me, so if you look at the bottom of number 6, it does say applicant is presenting this evening, and then the commission's discussion. The
Okay.
next month is when you're going to be
Right.
making a decision.
Oh, okay,
We've
Yeah,
delayed
we're-
it to 30 days, so you guys
We're not
do some
asking you.
additional information and research,
okay,
so we can make an analysis
Great.
next month.
Right.
that's what we.
And that's
what
why,
we need
and
to do.
yes,
And
and
a
I,
recommendation to the town council.
right.
Correct.
So any other questions for Mr. Bowersox while you have him here, or any of this team?
Do you have any questions?
Suggest, I think you're heading in that direction, that we're going to do a proposal not to take from the entire 5 acres into a commercial zone, but maybe buffering.
Yes.
They're gonna make a proposal.
Yeah, so, yes,
Yes.
so that it would fit. And what Roxanne was explaining is that there's community commercial, then we have limited commercial, and we have neighborhood professional that kind of buffers into when
Residential.
there's residential property. So that's what we're talking about.
I just saw something in here where they're saying that, although it's a 5-acre parcel, 2.7 is what they're going to use.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's it.
And
But
they're,
they're requesting it all to be.
Five acres.
That's all that they have
Yeah, they wanted to-
contracted for.
Right.
That's all they've
Well, here it
contracted
is. It's
for.
on page 1, and it talks about the Vols property. DMS consists approximately of 2.7. It's depicted on an exhibit, blah, 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 blah. But they only want to develop the 2.7.
Right, they were
Right,
just
I
asking.
understand
for
that.
the-
That's
They were
all.
asking for the entire property.
They're not-
Zoned commercial, though, that's what we were,
Okay.
but yeah, you're right.
Okay, so no more questions for the
So-
gentleman, right?
One,
Oh,
just to make clear, the Voslos are asking for this rezoning.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so again, do our homework, come in with any questions, and then
Do you have any questions for us about what what needs to happen when you bring it before us for a recommendation to the council?
Well, it's my understanding, I learned today that we would be here merely to make an
Okay.
introduction or presentation to you. That, I believe it's February the 25th would be your next meeting.
Okay.
Which is likely to be the date, pardon me, I'm sorry, that we would be back here
Okay.
again for, I presume, either further questions, clarification, what have you. And at that point in time, you would undertake to make a recommendation to the town council.
Right, and we have had some good discussion here, so hopefully there are some things that you can take from this to bring back to
Okay.
get your recommendation.
Okay, all right, well, thank you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we have a development project, 4100 Twin Arch Road, GRO-18-0011. The applicant's in process proposes a storage lot for service vehicles. John, want to take it away?
Sure. So the applicant is here, Flackron. He's representing American Cable Tech LLC. This property has been going through multiple reviews through the town and the county. Flackron's at the mic currently. So basically, it's a storage lot for service vehicles for the American Cable Company. So they'd be storing their vehicles there. If you know the property, this is where that abandoned house was, just below.
Oh, okay.
That's been, they went through and they tore down, regraded the site, went through all that process. And now they're moving forward with trying to get an approved asphalt pad that'll be fenced in on all sides except for the main entrance. There won't be a gate that'll be allowed there.
Excuse me.
Stop. Excuse me, could you shut the doors, please? Thank you.
Turn the lights up, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now you can, at least we can all now hear
Sorry.
ourselves saying things.
Sorry.
Again, the property is along Twin Arch Road. The address is 4100 Twin Arch Road. There is no lighting proposed. There will be no electricity on the property. There'll be no water or sewer connections on the property. It's a very unique parcel because it has a lot of restrictions and kind of put themselves in a hardship with the way that the parcel is sort of oriented and its access to Twin Arch Road, and also the adjacent stormwater management pond that's behind it from the Twin Arch Business Center, which limits the abilities to have a building on site because it can't be occupied because it would be in a dam breach area, et cetera. It's a lot of other stuff that goes with that. But the applicant has gone through the Carroll County review process and the town review process. The town is fine with all the proposed plans, et cetera. He's going through a couple final things with the county that sort of came up at the last minute, but I still feel as though we can move forward with an approval of the property the way it is shown, and we'll work through those last couple issues with Flackron. He's been very willing to work with the town.
Sir, do you have anything you want to add to John's staff report?
No, I don't think so. I think
Okay.
we covered everything.
Do we have any questions?
This is approximately 2/10 of an acre.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right there in the front. It just doesn't do anything.
Wow.
Sir, just identify your name and your address, and then your question.
Gary Fry, 4021 Twin Arch Road. Couple issues related to this. Coming down the hill, this is a traffic, in my opinion, it's a traffic issue. Cars come down the road trying to go up to the business park. So we're going to add a turning movement here that I think is going to create a hazard. And then the other part is obviously, I haven't seen the site plans to know what stormwater management measures are gonna go into place because all the storm drain water flows downstream towards me.
John, want to address
Well,
that?
and
Well-
just, go ahead. Somebody's saying something. Okay,
Go ahead,
so-
John.
So that is why we restricted the gate at the front entrance to the parcel, so that he wouldn't be blocking Twin Arch Road for an extended period of time. Our concern as the town is if he did have a security gate on that parcel, it will be fenced in all the way around except for the entrance area, that he'd be creating a hazard for the other drivers. For stormwater management, like you talk about, this site all grades back to itself. It does have some stormwater management at the rear of the property to restrict that amount of excess water coming onto Twin Arch Road. Is that where your concern is, Twin Arch Road?
We're gonna add hard surface. There's additional water that's now going to go into the streams, the stormwater system, to the creek that goes to my front yard.
So, I understand. So the county did review the plan. With the amount of additional paving he's providing, it doesn't really exceed the allowable additional water flow. I can check with the county again to make sure that they don't have any issues with it.
Hey, John, let me ask, is it greater than the footprint of the house that was there that was torn down? Is the
Yes.
slab
Yeah,
bigger than
yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're 2/10 of an acre.
Roxanne?
What are the times, basically, when the vehicles are gonna be coming in and out of that pad?
Not too sure about the times yet.
Like, is it gonna be all day? Will you think there'll
morning,
be like
evening.
7 to 9, morning, evening? Is that kind of where you're looking?
Probably the morning, in the morning.
Okay.
And approximately how many vehicles?
10 to 15.
Are you currently using that property for
10 to
anything
15.
now? Are you
No.
storing vehicles on there now? Okay.
Well, there's a vehicle on there every time I go by.
There's the owner has.
Is that your vehicle,
The owner
or?
has a vehicle on site. His personal vehicle.
No, it's not a personal vehicle.
Is-
It's a work, like, cable vehicle. It's there all the time.
Mhm.
Ma'am, do you want to come up and add anything to that, please?
Hi, I'm Susan Harbison. I'm 1415 Chessie Court. I'm a renter. I'm on Streets and Roads. And I'm glad I came tonight because I come out of that Century Drive and I already have difficulties making the right-hand turn by all the fools who think that they can go past the stop sign to make the left-hand turn towards this property. We also have a very large 12 by 16 billboard there that says for lease that's already blocking that. You were coming from a 2-lane road that probably hasn't been paved in maybe 15 years. Okay? We're trying to make Back Acres Circle eventually go through to alleviate some of the traffic closer to the townhomes back on Back Acres Circle. And now you're gonna put 15 or so trucks, which is his business or for profit for him, but it's gonna cause more of a traffic issue from him pulling out either direction, and I'm going to assume most of the direction is gonna be going towards 27. We already are in a blind spot. Now we're gonna add additional large vehicles there, and we're eventually gonna open Back Acre Circle to be complete. So we're adding these trucks. I see that truck parked there all the time, and I thought it was kind of odd. But to add 15, I mean, aren't we like trying to improve our community, improve the roads, and keep it some kind of a compliance to things? Just parking 15 vehicles on the side of the road just doesn't seem feasible, one, for traffic. I mean, if his trucks are coming down Twin Arch Road to make that left into this little parking area, what is that gonna do to the traffic there? There's a very narrow road there, very narrow. And I can't see these trucks making a left-hand turn and the traffic still having a good flow. Or them coming out and them not impeding the people who are coming through the little bridge part of Twin Arch Road coming up towards 27, which if you don't know, we do have Back Acre Circle, which is going to be adding, what, 80 new homes soon? Is that what its development is?
But its access is down, farther down the road.
No, he is between the Century Drive and the Back Acre Circle entrance.
Correct.
And
The
that,
75 homes that are going in the back of the property behind the soccer fields that are down there.
correct, but those homes will be exiting out right where his business is, right next to the townhomes.
It'd be much easier for them to go out to Twin Arch Road.
Who would be?
It'd be much easier for them to go to Twin Arch Road and go through Back Acre Circle.
If we're exiting our homes, which are those 200 townhomes, we have either exit. We can go up to or we can go out Back Acre Circle. We have an exit. Aaron Lane, I'm sorry, Aaron Lane. So you're gonna be adding all those new homes, plus all the new businesses that we're developing back there. I just don't see that this is gonna be,
There's another entrance over in Aaron that's gonna go into,
Wait a minute. No,
no.
no, they'll come on to Back Acre Circle, but then, like she's saying, they could come out Century Drive or Aaron Lane. Either way to Twin Arch Road.
Right, and when if you have his trucks coming out and you have all the traffic coming up towards Twin Arch, which we already have had like 2 accidents in Twin Arch in the last 3 days. So I just don't see this adding anything. I mean, it's just gonna cause more confusion, because if you go down Twin Arch, going back into Howard County, that road is so narrow. And if you're gonna put, more commercial vehicles on there, it's just either pave it or widen it, but just don't put a business there first. And I want streets and roads, and I would have loved to have known about this 2 months ago, because I'm not saying he shouldn't do it, but you gotta think about the amount of residential that's going in there. I mean, we're already having problems back there now, and now you wanna park 15 vehicles close to the edge of the road. And I'm concerned about, you're saying it's graded to a certain degree, and this has already been presented, but there's a runoff pond right there.
It's been presented to the county for their approval of what's there.
But I just don't see,
No, the county has accepted it.
I mean, we have to send it to the county, and if the county approves what's there, then,
was that a home previously there?
a long time ago it was a home, but to be perfectly honest with you, there was never any water or sewer there. I mean, that's how long that house has been there.
Okay.
So there is no sewer, there's no water or sewer that's going to be able to go to that house, to go to that property. So it's kind of a dead space, or a dead piece of land, so to speak. Because you're just going to let it, it's a hard situation. Is the owner here?
The architect that laid the plans out and Flat Ground is his representative are here.
Are you the representative of the architect?
I'm just concerned about the narrow road, and expands out when you're coming out from if you were to make a right off of his property, it's 1 lane each way. If these are larger than normal vehicles turning onto the road, are they gonna be contained to the 1 lane that they're in? Are they gonna be impeding traffic on the other side? 2, if there's a backup and his trucks are trying to get in after they're done all their work all day, what about the traffic that's going back down Twin Arch? How are they gonna be affected? Go ahead.
Real quickly, Pat Lockwood, American. Wouldn't there be a traffic impact study? But I hear your concerns. Wouldn't there be a traffic impact study? And this is not a guess or feeling, or I just don't like it. It's we work in
we
facts.
need a traffic study.
We need a traffic impact study, and if the facts support it's an issue, it's an issue. But it's not how we feel. But she is raising some concerns,
Right.
so I would just go to the facts, look at your traffic study, and then look at what your zoning allows, and remember, you have to go with what your zoning allows as well, and do it fact-based, that's all.
It's also within the context of the Streets and Roads chapter in the master plan, which speaks to down the road, extending that major, well, not only widening Twin Arch Road, the need for it because of the impact at the intersection now of Twin Arch and 27, but also in terms of extending Century Drive.
Well, it's a failed road, I think traffic studies are going to show fail.
Yep.
They're going to show its failings. I would just base it on whatever the traffic study is. Unfortunately, it's not adding a business to the town, so it gets a little dicey, I guess, for you guys. Business is something we're looking for. It does bring people into town that may be shopping in town, and there is a commercial use there, so, or excuse me, industrial use.
So can we make that request?
Yes.
You know,
Do we have anything existing that you can pull out for next meeting?
I cannot confirm or deny that because I'm not sure, but I'm not sure. I mean, I just think that the amount of trips, not sure if it, we can do a traffic impact study to that area to find out.
We don't have.
Or, Barney, can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, with only 15 vehicles that can even fit on the site, generally, we would not ask for a traffic impact study for that. Now, you could ask for like a traffic statement or, you know, something a little less, but at least have somebody look at it.
Didn't we have any previous traffic impact studies from that site?
It was more of the intersection.
It was,
Yeah, the 27. Twin
just for the
Arch,
intersection.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is failing.
Yes.
Would I be able to add something?
Of course.
Traffic is not going to be.
Mike, can you
Your
please give your
name
name and who you are, please?
Mike Boyer, architect. I was led to believe that the trucks are going to go there and park. It's not like it's a shopping center where they're coming and going. They go there and they stay there throughout the day. So it won't impede any traffic flow.
That's why I was asking what time they were going to be coming in and out. And we don't have that, and the owner's not here to answer that.
All right, can we clarify that? And then, Barney, can we also access previous traffic studies even from the intersection and do some interpolation then if this is just an infinitesimal amount? And if they're, we also need to clarify, are they going to simply be parked there all day as opposed to
Yes.
coming and going? We need to have those clarifications.
Well, it's-
I think that's.
It's double the vehicles, because there's a vehicle going to the truck, and then you're getting in the truck, and then driving the truck, and then you're bringing the truck
Yeah.
back, and there's a vehicle. So it's actually like twice as much.
30.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, but it's not,
It's
yeah.
not, I don't even know if it's worth doing an impact at
Yeah,
all,
I mean,
really,
No.
because 30 cars
Yeah.
are not, it's not the traffic that it's impacting, it's the safety, more or less, of
The
the
left
vehicles.
turn is the one
left
that's-
turn,
the-
right.
the left turn-
That's the biggest issue, and that's not going, you're not going to get anything from a traffic
No.
study.
Would
for
there,
that.
true.
would there be a certain time when the trucks are allowed to enter or leave?
But they can enter anytime they want. It's-
Yeah. I mean, as a restriction, say only between 8 and 9 in the morning, or 8 and 10.
Well,
Yeah, if
the-
you
the-
stay,
No.
I don't think we could even do that.
I mean, the mornings and the evenings, I mean,
We're
rush
always
hour,
bad.
morning and evening on Twin Arch is a disaster.
But how are you going to enforce something like
Right.
that?
Right.
We could.
Can't really.
I think you're gonna have a lot of trouble making that left turn, and I think you're gonna have a lot of trouble getting a right turn, a safe right turn out of there, because
Yeah.
it's like a speedway. I mean, I
It is.
do it every day, and it's
That's right,
it's
you do.
scary. It's scary making a right, and it's kind of scary making a left. And if you're going beyond the intersection, it's gonna be even scarier, because the intersection is the least expected. So when you're going beyond the intersection, you have to make a left turn. You're gonna see all these cars flying by at like speeds that are faster than they should be, and then you're gonna try to make a left, and it's
It may,
gonna be tough.
may only be 1 or 2 cars throughout the entire day, so that you can't
Yeah.
time it.
No, I mean, right. I don't think that the volume of cars are going to be the problem. I think it's going to be that you might get stuck there for a while trying to make a left, and it could back up to the intersection.
Welcome to traffic.
Yeah, well, yeah. But it could. But if it backs up to the intersection, that's bad. So if that left turn can't be had, and it starts to, like, cars start to back up to the Century Drive intersection, that'll be a problem.
And if there's, and every once in a while, there's an issue right there between the entrances to the shopping center and,
Right.
but
But
I'm
that's the only
there.
thing. That's the only thing. The right turns aren't really. I don't think that would have too much of an impact. The right turns out of there. I think the left turns into there. If it backs up two Centuries intersection, that's when you're gonna feel the pain.
Well, I'm in there every day at 6 o'clock in the morning and out every evening at 5 o'clock in the evening. and there's no real problems right then, but within half an hour, then
Yeah,
it really
6
becomes.
o'clock, it's,
All right.
Yes.
Mike, did you want to add anything?
Oh, just so you know, the owner is recovering from surgery. That's why he's.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for adding that.
O'Brien, 806 Park Avenue. I've frequented Twin Arts Road too for many years, and everything everyone said is true tonight, but I think the basic underlying issue is enforcement of the speed limit now. Once you calm that road down, then people, won't have to jitterbug around and stuff like that. But I think safety and enforcement, and I know enforcement is hard to do and all that stuff, but if the word gets out,
Right.
people might slow down some and make
That's what
this
happened on
a
Ridge, so.
viable-
And it
a
is
viable
out.
Have a police department now.
Yes.
so.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, what do you want to do with this? Because we all agree.
I have one more question for John regarding the pond and this gentleman's question back here. You said you were going to confirm something with the county.
I'll make sure that they looked at the stormwater management for that site to make sure there wasn't any increase that was detrimental to anybody downstream.
Okay.
But the problem is that the total square footage of the site is so small, it's actually an exemption. So it's not like
Right.
it's something, it's so minuscule. And I don't even see how they'd get 15 trucks on that parcel. They're gonna maybe get 7,
Angled
in
parking.
my opinion. But, I mean, you can put as many as you can get on there, but I don't see them putting that many vehicles on that parcel.
now, they will pull out forward, right? They're not gonna back up out because it's so tight, right? Because that's not good.
No.
And one of my main concerns when we first saw the property is I was concerned about a trailer and trying to get a truck and trailer potentially in
Yeah.
there, and how you were gonna get it in there and be able to turn it around. I mean, that's really my
Yeah,
big question. but
backing up on the Twin Arches,
That would be unacceptable.
that's unacceptable.
That's why I was asking what kind of truck, there's not going to be any tractor trailers going in and out there. It's just the work vehicle, the cable,
Bucket truck,
kind of like you see,
bucket.
like Comcast has or whatever, those types of trucks.
So then I think we've got some questions that we want to get answers to by next meeting before we can make a decision.
Okay, what are the questions we want to get answered?
Well,
Hours of operation, times, frequency of trucks coming in and going is one of the questions. Does
The
anybody-
water issue maybe, even though it's minuscule.
The stormwater management issue, yes.
Well,
I hate us being the arbitrator of somebody's hours of operation or the decider of somebody's hours of operation.
no, we're not doing that.
It was just mentioned.
Well, we're just asking what the times are that they were using. I guess to relate it to a traffic impact, but again, it gets back to the same thing. It's so minuscule on traffic impact that I'm not sure.
I just feel like at this point, the amount of traffic that we're talking about is so minor.
Right.
That I hear your concern, but we're talking, I think, not that many vehicles to begin with. Nothing like what is being put down the street with the residential or anything else. And that as far as the stormwater management goes, real concern, but I think that we could probably go ahead and approve this. And if you found out the county said no, we could put it pending county approval.
contingent,
Yeah,
contingent.
and that way,
I think that I wasn't really stuck on the amount of vehicles, because I think the volume is low. I think it was that there was a turn that was not there currently, is what I think is the problem, is that it's something that doesn't exist now. So it's not like 15 vehicles are turning on Century Drive that currently exists, which you wouldn't even notice. But it's 15 vehicles that are gonna turn into somewhere where they're currently not turning, which is, I think, unpredictable as to what it would do to Twin Arch.
so what
But I don't-
information would you not
No,
need?
well, that's the thing. I couldn't tell you what you'd need to know to understand that.
Right.
I could tell you, though, I mean, you could probably get a flavor if you went down there, put your car in park for about 30 seconds to see if you could make a left turn and see how much traffic backs up. I bet you it would be significant.
I pulled on the site with no problem the other day when I put the sign up.
Okay.
Roxanne?
Well, there you go.
When I first read this, I thought, my first inclination was, well, that's really going to slow the people down on Twin Arch that are speeding. I think that, that was my first comment. And to Judy's comment, we also have in here that, we have, that the Water Resource Protection Agency comments from Carroll County need to be addressed. I mean, that would be part of our approval anyway. So, thank you for your comments.
I was going to say,
Judy.
Flat Ground has actually, was at talking to the county this morning, and he, it's an exception, they'll be able to serve a waiver, you were saying, you have to ask for a variance or a waiver for that stormwater, that water resource protection comment. So like I say, that's why I was able to, felt like we could move forward with it, because that
Yep.
comment that the county had was not warranted in my eyes. It seemed like it was,
Yeah, I am inclined that we don't need any more information.
No.
I mean, it's almost self-limiting anyway, as far as what how many vehicles can fit, what's safe we can get in and get out. And then I'm sorry, I understand your comment, ma'am, on roads and streets, and, you know, I mean, this is not this one property's gonna
It's a
kill it
unique,
all.
it's a unique situation in the fact that you can't do anything with this property. And we can't ask an owner to sit there and not, with his property vacant. I mean, you can't really ask the owner, well, you've bought this property, but it has to stay vacant. I mean, that's, I'm ready to move that we conditionally approve approve the grading plan only located at 4100 Twin Arch Road with the following conditions. All of the town comments have been addressed. The couple of Water Resource Protection Agency comments from Carroll County will be addressed prior to a grading permit being approved and signed off by the town of Mount Airy staff. 2, provide any and all legal documents, PWA, and bonding prior to grading permit approval. And 3, that the parcel be deeded to the town of Mount Airy prior to the grading permit being approved and signed off by Mount Airy staff.
I have a question. What does 3 mean? Parcel A be
so
deeded?
there's a small portion that's actually, it was in front of the house, because that house used to sit like right on the curb. Right on the
Okay.
sidewalk, there's a small portion, it's number 6 on the general notes
Okay.
on your sheets.
Okay.
So that parcel has to be deeded to us by meets and bounds and a description with a plat of that parcel being submitted with the application.
I'd like to add, what do you do, amend, or I'd like to add
Mhm.
something.
That's fine. I
What do
agree
you-
to
what do
it.
you, what do you call that?
Amend.
I'd like to amend by adding that no vehicles will back out, that all vehicles would be driven forward out of the
Front end.
front end only. Out of-
Front end.
Monitor that.
I'm just saying,
It's really important.
So the
Okay.
applicant would
I'm
have
not
to agree
saying
to that.
it's up to the town whether they monitor it. I'm just saying it should be in there. If
Well,
they don't
there-
monitor
there's
it, they
enough
don't
spa-
monitor it.
There is enough room to, when you pull a vehicle in, to get it the other way, right? I mean, yeah, so that, I mean, that's, I mean, nobody would back up
That seemed
onto
to be a
Twin Arch
huge-
Road
that seemed to
who
be a
wants to
huge
live to see
issue.
the rest of the day. Right.
Putting in the staff report is a good thing, because it does then put it bindingly, legally on a piece of paper that if it was an issue and if they backed
If it
out and they
becomes
caused
an
an
issue.
accident, well,
Yeah.
you're now liable. It doesn't matter if it was somebody's failure to yield.
Okay, hold on. This gentleman, do you want to add something? Just come to the podium, sir.
It's like, it's similar to when you have a parking deck and you have a sign that says front end parking only. Same thing here. We could say exit forward, no reverse.
Okay. Okay, are we okay with that amendment?
Okay.
Okay. So all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? It's passing unanimously. Thank you so much, and thank you for bearing with us on making sure we understood this. Okay, next item on the agenda. We have reports, other business. Next is the new canopy structure to be erected over the town of Mount Airy's caboose. Barney, this is for our information.
Yes. So we did put a bid package out and actually got bids back. They got approved at the, was it the last town council meeting? And so they're moving forward with this pavilion that you have before you. So we wanted to bring it to your, just as an FYI to you that, that's what's going to be coming into the downtown.
When are they gonna start?
They're They've given us some drawings, and we're reviewing those currently.
Yep.
Probably March timeframe is what we're looking at start. I don't know.
Right in the dead of winter?
Yeah, well, weather permitting.
Yeah, okay.
Naturally, the first thing would have to be some footers. They're pretty deep footers. They're about 10 feet deep. And, but, yeah, so that's March, April is kind of like the time frame for the installation.
Barney, a couple of quick questions. Were there any options in terms of, different canopy designs? I mean, this is a very contemporary, clean kind of a look, but it's somewhat out of step with, the design standards of our downtown. Secondly, I think, the recent, the November tornado, and the velocity of those winds, sort of took us all by surprise, and the damage that they did. Are these is this type of canopy rated to a certain velocity?
Yeah, so again, the footers themselves, each footer, there's 4 of them. Each one is, I can't remember, it's 3 foot diameter, but 10 feet deep. So most footers are, only a few feet deep. There's a lot of weight in that. The concern is not so much snow load or anything, it's more of uplift on the canopy. And so that's what it's designed for.
And I didn't read through the whole thing, so I apologize. What is the exterior? Is there going to be one flat wall on the backside then?
No,
It's
just
gonna
the
be,
roof.
it's gonna be four
Just the
posts,
cover.
basically,
And then a cover.
holding the A-frame, but the A-frame is gonna be much longer over the roof, shorter one over the sidewall.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for Barney? Oh, here, Pat?
People plan to speak at these things, always end up coming a lot. Pat Rockenberg, Mayor. It's a little bit more than an FYI, by the way. It's not an FYI. We're just showing you, and this is what we're going to do. You're the planning commission. Take a look at it. Make sure it meets your design standards. Make sure it meets the design standards of the town. Bill, good point. I haven't looked at it, so I don't have an opinion. But it's a little bit more than an FYI.
Thank you.
We do care about what our downtown looks like. I'm sure they did a great job. Barney always does, but a little bit more than an FYI.
Thank you. Any other questions for Barney? We have someone else to add.
Larry Husher, Town Council. Of course, we've been working on this for a couple of years, and it got really complicated when the county came in and said, you got to put these footers 10 foot deep. So we had to work with the budget. We got the Community Foundation of Carroll County is contributing a sizable amount of money toward this. And the design is meant to, the roof line mirrors what's on the train station in terms of pitch, and having a shorter part of it that comes over the sidewalk and then a longer part over the caboose. So I would just tell you, hasn't been an easy project. And we're also working with the state to get, there's a $25,000 bond bill out there. So they're looking at the project as well to make sure that we're in the process. Actually, Mary's doing a lot of the work on this to make sure that the state upholds their $25,000 toward the project, or not upholds, but pays out. So it's a real orchestration of wickets to get through to get this thing built.
Is it the legislation this year?
It was passed on the bond bill last year.
Oh, okay.
And we have a certain amount of time,
To use it.
which we filed the initial paperwork, which bought us more time. We just have to make sure that we got all of our Ts crossed and Is dotted to get this thing through, so.
Larry, is the council committed to going forward with the canopy? I mean, and is it?
They approved the money.
Right, but are we, I mean, do we need
Do we need
this?
the canopy?
Well, yeah, does it have to happen?
Yes.
Yeah, we've already got some areas up on the cupola of the caboose that are starting to have some dry rot to them. We've had some, what happens is the rain hits the siding, which is all tongue and groove, and then water, even though it's all painted and everything, will seep back to the backside, and there's insulation. There's actually pink insulation in the wall. So that water can permeate to the inside of the caboose. Cabooses normally didn't have this problem because they were always on the move, but over a period of time, about every 15 years, they had to bring a caboose in and redo stuff. The other thing is UV on the caboose, the sun shining on the caboose. One side of it, probably the south side of it, will end up turning pink over a couple years, and we'll end up having to repaint it. And there's a couple cabooses, the Ellicott City one and one at the B&O Museum. One side of it is gorgeous red, and the other side of it is faded to pink.
Well, that was one of the things, and I thought maybe, you know, we could put an elastomer coating on it that would prevent the water from seeping in. But I was afraid that it was going to deter from the look of Mackenzie, because it looks really good.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid that putting a carport over it is going to take away from it. I thought that maybe there were some solutions that didn't involve covering it, like, you know, using coating technology to get us there.
The different seasons that and of course, having such a rainy summer has not helped. But, you know, in the winter, we get the snow stacked up on top of the roof, and it slowly starts seeping in. Yeah, and
Right,
so, I mean, there's numerous reasons, and Doc knows. Did he already take off? Yeah.
No, I understand. I just, I do, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Well, I just didn't want it to take away from the look of it, because it's not,
Well,
I don't think it's going to add.
Initially, the intent was to put footers on both sides of the caboose and build something that looked a little more like a house over top of it. And a lot of concerns were coming out on the fact that we were going to have posts on both sides of the caboose, and you wouldn't have a solid view of the caboose. Doing it this way allows us to actually keep that north view looking south. You see the entire caboose.
I
So.
think that I wasn't thrilled with the idea of a covering either initially, but over a period of time, we've gotten to a place where that makes sense. But I like the idea that the design of it equates to the train station, so it kind of would pull it together, and I'm hoping the coloring of it would kind of pull it together too, so it kind of.
Well, I would add that this past, the day after Thanksgiving, was pouring down rain, having two little granddaughters to take them up to the caboose, and it's pouring down rain. Being under a cover would have been nice.
Yeah, and the cover, Barney, on the latest plan, the cover still extends over the deck. Is
It
that true?
extends over the deck.
Yeah, so the deck will be covered as well.
Lighting, again, we're not fighting the cover battle.
Right.
Yeah.
There's also lighting that will now shine down.
Good.
Which,
Well, we've got
which
about
is not, we don't have that
$150,000.
budgeted right now, right?
Right, that's not in the budget.
It's not in the
currently,
current.
But
We
the
have
idea
a
is to
huge
bring extra
investment in
lighting
this
that will
caboose.
help
Yeah.
enhance the caboose at night.
And we need to protect it.
Yeah, okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Mike, did you want to add anything?
O'Brien here again. I think as far as architectural design and standards and stuff like that, that if you look at a lot of modern train stations in like Japan, China, and stuff like that, you'll see a lot of these more modern gull wing type structures. And I think it's sort of unique to marry a little bit of the old with a little bit of the new. And I think we've done that. But I think the main purpose of this covering is for rain. And doing I thought of solid sheeting type stuff, but it wouldn't look nice. But the boards on the side of that caboose are tongue and groove, and they swell, and they're going to let water in no matter how you do it. So I think the design always has been, or the concept has always been to protect from the water and try to marry the design with something in our town. And I think they've done an eloquent job of that. I think you'll probably agree with that when you read your drawings and see it built. But we're not going to prevent all the water, but I think this does the best job of all the options.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions for Barney? Thank you, Barney.
Thank you.
And thanks for everyone putting up with our questions. Okay, next on the agenda, we have the new Town of Mount Airy's train station signs mounted on both the west and east ends of the building. Engineering for your information, or?
It
I'm
was
sorry, we're
just
supposed
for
to-
our
I thought-
information.
It was said for our information.
It doesn't
Should we-
say for approval.
Do you want us to approve it?
We can approve it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an outside structure in the middle of your historic downtown.
Okay. Who wants to make a motion?
If that's it, I haven't seen the drawing, I'm sure it looks great, but I would look at it.
Can we get it, before we start approving something, Larry, can you give us a slight idea of what we're talking about? You or Barney or somebody? The train station, the signs on the train station.
Well, wait a minute, we're back
I
at
think
the,
Pat
no,
wanted us
we're
to talk
back,
about the.
we're back at the pavilion.
Pavilion.
We've got information on that?
I move that we approve the pavilion, the building of the pavilion over the caboose.
I second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you. Thank you for keeping us on track. Okay, next. Now we do have, again, we're voting on this one then. The Town of Mount Airy's signage, east and west ends. Oh, Barney or Larry?
Let's let Larry start.
Okay,
Larry
let's let
Hushman.
Larry do the work. He's got the sign.
I'm representing the Historical Society this evening on this. So, yeah, this is the physical sign that would go on the east and, or on the, east and west sides. And it has a backer board, so it'll go onto a backer board, and the backer board will be what gets secured to the bricks. And I think you guys have some historic pictures of the town. So I think this was approved in 1838, I believe.
So we don't need to approve it again?
That's up to you, but the other thing is, if you want to tie it into it, they've come up with, our signs about Runkle's Mill that are down here by the caboose, a couple of historic signs. By the historic light signal that's by the train station, they have 2 informational signs that they would like to put out there that explain how the signal works and where it was located in town. I only have one color copy.
We'll just pass it.
I'll let y'all pass that around. I don't know if you want to, did you get approval? Yeah, same concept. Yeah, the dimensions are on there. I think the longest one is 40 inches. Okay. Yeah, and so, I don't know if you want them approving those as well.
Okay.
So you can do
So
it
we're
in
doing
a.
two. We've got the Mount Airy sign, and now we're looking at the sign that's going to be outside the
There's 2 of them,
caboose.
2 informational signs that will be, they'll be over by the light signal, which is in that eastern corner.
Yep. I remember that. I remember that.
So where would these be?
Those will be by the light signal that's on the southeastern corner
Of the caboose side or the?
of the train
Train
station.
station. Yeah.
This is the big signal that lights up that has a big round face to it.
Got one question.
Yeah.
There's nothing on here about how much it's cost and who's paying for it.
Well, great news. Historical Society's paying for all this. So,
That's actually not your purview.
Larry, Larry, are they going to be mounted with inside the,
oh, there you go.
sorry, I see,
Yeah.
will they be mounted where the
Thank you.
shrubbery is currently, right by the?
Yeah,
'cause there's
it'll
no
be
si- there's no
within
site plan
that.
that shows where it's located.
It'll be within that footprint where the shrubs are.
Where the shrubbery is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that going to get all new paving or something on top of it?
I'm
or-
not quite sure what their intention is as far as if they're going to put pavers in there or keep plant life in there. I'm not sure what the intent is beyond the sign.
To add, if I could share the podium with my friend Larry. If you look at your pictures, we just had a sign meeting because the whole area is in need of some signage. Don bought the fourth plan, Doc had a sign built already. And we were actually working with the beautification committee on another sign draft. All these signs are gonna come to you all eventually. But when we were talking about it, we were also looking, Bob, may I steal this? Is when they're putting up these historic signs back, which makes total sense. We're gonna ask if we can remove these signs. and try
I
to
saw
bring it
that.
back to a more historic look, or even move that over to Larry, move that over to the side. And that was gonna be a recommendation when we came forward, but we're not even done our work yet, because we've just met in the subcommittee. We're eventually gonna go to parks, and then we're gonna come to planning. But we have some informational signs, one that'll say rails to trails, another that'll say, hey, if you're here, these are all the shops that are down, because right now we have sandwich boards everywhere. And if you're at Watkins Park, we want some arrows telling people, hey, you're at Watkins Park, but you're moments away from downtown Mount Airy with shops and eateries, and so we're getting some back and forth signage. So
Cool.
this is all gonna start working together. and just keep that in mind. But that was another good point that Larry, we're gonna try to get rid of these and just have that the way it used to be in 1830.
So Pat, with that, that was my question is, so it just says it's going to remove 2 of the signs but leave the Mount Airy Pharmacy.
We can't do that yet.
I spoke to the pharmacy, and they're not opposed to moving that to the north side of the building.
Great.
Similar to the south side, if you look, when you
Yeah.
approach it, it says Mount Airy
Perfect.
Pharmacy. Even though they are currently are not Mount Airy Pharmacy, they're
Medicine
Med
One.
One or something, but,
I know by-
I mean, everybody knows them as Mount Airy Pharmacy, and I think it aesthetically looks better.
I just think it would look, I mean, if
It'll
we're
look a lot
going for
cleaner.
that
Oh, yeah.
more
Yeah.
clean look and everything, I think it'd be great if all of those signs were off except the Mount Airy. Right.
So getting back to the original point now, on the informational side about the signal, how big is, what are the dimensions on that? We really
They're
want
not going to be on this wall, though.
No, 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 no.
They're gonna be able to
That's a
boost.
48 by something is what
It's-
Larry said.
18.
Oh, it's right there.
One of your informational placards,
40 inches.
40
No, we don't
by
have it.
Right
20,
here.
24.
Yeah. Pass it on.
It's over there.
I never saw one, so I don't know. And are they gonna have that stainless steel frame?
26 by 18. Much better.
Look at the other one.
Okay, hold on. 40 by 21.
So it's 2 different sizes.
Well, which one is it?
It's both of
It's
them.
both of them.
Both of
Two
them,
different
Pat.
ones.
It's 2 different.
Just like down at
it's
the
2
caboose,
different-
there's 2 of them.
My
It's-
concern is a lot of
Consistency.
signage going on down there.
Yeah.
Be careful, it's getting a little big, it's getting a little commercial. I would probably think about toning that down, I'm not sure, because there's other, and this is when we look at things together collectively. That's why when commissions look at things, they say, oh, it's a great idea, until we see that 4 other commissions are doing something else, and we have to bring them all together. With this, keep in mind, we're gonna have other signage coming in, so we wanna kinda keep it scaled. We don't have signs everywhere.
Right, but this
But
is,
we definitely want these signs, just that I'm not sure about the size.
but they're going to go next to the switch signs. So they're like, when you go through the Smithsonian or something, you see all those informational signs. I don't really have a problem.
That's that big. For the entire mill, our sign is, I forget how big, but that was depicting.
Yeah, but it's only going to stand like this tall, right? It's not going to, it's not,
Well, I'd like to see more of the comprehensive, and I think for any of the signs
yeah.
I'm thinking about, we still have a Mount Airy plan, downtown plan that's being developed, and I would
Right.
think the signage and all that stuff would all be part of this, and we could bring it together, is
But-
my thought.
If you just approved the train station, that'd be fine. And we can
that's
do,
what
we could do all
that's
the
what I
other
was going to
stuff
say.
later.
We're
Okay.
we're only,
Yeah, let's do that.
Then
we're only doing the sign. Go
I'll
ahead.
move
Approve that
approval.
conditionally, let's just work with the size and make sure it's in contact.
Sorry, Bill.
Okay, Bill, try it again.
No, if you need to talk, go ahead, then I'll make the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
With the pharmacy sign, the one that's up there that says Mount Airy Pharmacy, would it not look maybe a little bit better to have the same lettering and just have pharmacy? That way, not distinguishing anything, and
I just,
I'm
I
asking.
think that's really kind of cool along the one side that the doors are on, but for the front side on the street, I think it just be
They're okay with it.
plain Mount
They're
Airy.
okay with it, let's have
Yeah.
them move it. I mean, it does look nice, clean.
Well, we don't need to talk about that because
well,
that's
let's
not come
go,
to us.
yeah,
It's just the
just-
sign,
just the
just the
sign.
Mount
No.
Airy sign.
I make a motion to approve the removal of the old signage and replace it with the proposed new signage.
I'll second.
Just the Mount Airy part.
Yeah.
I second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
None opposed.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay. So next we have Town of Mount Airy's updated standards, specifications, and details for construction. I did not read that because I was like, oh.
I did not read
Word
that
by word.
either. We got it on Friday,
Yeah.
and it's very long.
Sorry, I can't
Okay.
do anything with
My overall
Okay, go
question,
ahead.
Barney, is what are the material changes, updates,
Yes.
improvements of this? How does it benefit the town? Okay, what was the rationale for going ahead and doing this? And, in your estimation as the town engineer, what do we gain as a result?
Sure. So that's why I wanted to just kind of collectively tell you is that we haven't made any substantial changes. All we did is made it so that it's friendly to go onto the town's website. These specs and standards are now on the town's website, just as the latest for people to be able to view. But more or less, the only changes, and it's not just only recent changes, but through the last few years, you know, if corporation stops, the valve that's on the main, you know, that goes to each house, if it's not a model XYZ, now it's a model ABC, we changed that. We made those kind of updates. So we weren't there to change, you know, what the requirements are so much as to just update things to today's, you know.
So where it was underlined, was that the change then? 'Cause I saw some underlined as I was flipping through this.
Would we be able to notice the changes in here?
I can't say that you would, no.
Okay.
No, there's substantial changes since, I only brought it to the planning commission and council one time before, and so this is just the second time, and that time we'd only made it, you know, changes to the detail, which are in the back, all the pictures, if you will. And we've made some more changes to those, making them a little bit user-friendly, and where, you know, something we've always required and it wasn't on the drawing, it might have been in the spec but not on the drawing, we moved it to there as well, and just to make it more clear out in the field.
I want to say my husband, who's an engineer, wanted this.
Yeah.
He wants this taken, he's like, okay, I'll give him my copy.
I just don't think that I have any expertise to be able to review this and say, yeah, that's a great update. 'Cause
Right.
We'll take your word on it.
Pictures are pretty.
Right,
You know.
it's a requirement in our code, I think
Yep.
I mentioned it's for planning commission and town council to approve it. The best I could do is show you the older
No,
1989 specs and show you what the newer.
I mean, this sounds like an operational goal for, you know,
Like
for
an
a
employee
town,
manual.
for a municipality.
Right.
That-
Yeah.
Well, how about a summary of the changes in writing so that we can look at in the next month?
I think it'd be as long as that document in front of you, honestly.
Well, I'm not voting yes until I at least look at it. Because even if I don't understand it, I have to look at it.
It doesn't have to
I
happen
mean,
this
I'll
month.
just abstain though, because everybody else.
No,
can vote.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay, do you want to go ahead and we'll read it and then get back to, we'll hold off approving until next meeting?
Yeah, I feel more comfortable doing that.
Yeah, in fact, everything that's in here is what's online currently. So we just went ahead and put it online so that people have access to it.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead, John, and hold off until next meeting for the updated standard specifications and details for
I
construction.
think that's our responsibility.
Okay. Okay. The next planning commission meeting is February 25th. And then I see on page 2, John, you've got your future items.
Yep, which would be the discussion of the rezoning case, 2019-1. Officer property located at 1801 South Main. And that's for direction from the planning commission to the town council, or basically, and I guess for clarity, I'm not sure, I have to look in the neighborhood district you were talking about, adjoining to that. I mean, I know that there's typically, I'm not sure what the buffer is, I have to look into it.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
need
what you're
to-
saying, you want him to present, because I'm not sure if he was.
No,
clear
I don't
when he
want him to
left.
present. He's not going to be able to do that.
No.
I think we just need to
No.
make
Okay.
sure
Okay, I
that
just
the
wanna-
zoning
know.
is consistent with the code.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Because there had always
I'm gonna
been-
look into that, so I just didn't know.
The issue had been having community commercial right next to real estate.
residential.
Residential,
There was
yes.
a big issue with the property right behind the chiropractor's office. Do you remember that?
Yep.
A couple
Oh,
years ago?
yeah,
Yep,
There
yep.
was a big thing.
On the east side.
Yep. Ridge
Yes.
built one.
And
Yeah, we
also
made
South
those
Main.
neighborhood, we made those neighborhood professional instead
Instead
of
of-
limited
Yes.
commercial, right?
Okay.
During the master plan, yes.
At that transition, and that's what I was thinking
Yeah.
about when I was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, and then the rails and trail signage for the downtown businesses that Pat brought up would be
Yeah.
potentially up for discussion, depending on our focus groups that we'll be having.
Yeah, I think we still have to meet one more time. Right now, we have a subcommittee, and then once the subcommittee gets all on the same page, and believe me, whenever I put these subcommittees together, my idea is never taken and told anybody else's idea. Then we'll bring forward to, beautification's already on there, parks and planning. for their comment, input, and show them.
And future items,
Representation from this commission on that, you said? There's representation from this
No.
commission?
No,
Oh,
but you had a chance to look at it.
got it.
you'll have the final say, basically. But so, and when future items does not mean next month. You know, it's,
What's
Oh,
out
what's up
there.
with Green Tree? When's that going to be on?
that's to be determined. It's not on here currently, so.
Still at the staff level working on.
Right, there's still some works through
Because for a
that.
while back, it was on potentially. That's the only reason I ask. And then
Right, and like the 203 Cross Street, that applicant
They
removed
took
their.
that off, right?
Right,
They took it
so
off.
hence that's why it didn't move forward. And again, with the Green Tree, we're still in communications with the owner and developer and us.
Is that also Prospect? What's that called?
Prospect Place.
Mill.
Oh,
Not-
Still at staff.
Place. Yeah. It's the cold storage. Cold storage.
Cold storage, yeah.
That's absolutely correct.
Anything else you want to add, John?
And we'll also, next month will be the Twin Arch Business Park, Lot 19, Service Master Site Plan presentation. Now, you guys did see that. Again, this was prior to me. I
Yeah.
was pretty sure you had seen this parcel
Yes.
before.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this will be for the final approval, and that it will be for next month.
John, what's the approximate timing of the downtown master plan
That
presentation?
is also, you're saying the amount of time it's going to take?
No.
No.
That's also February as well.
Yeah, that's next
Okay,
month.
It says future item, but that'll be February as well.
excellent.
So both those items at the bottom will be in February.
Okay.
All right, if we can squeeze it in next month, I really would like to see us, identify goals for this year. Stuff that we do need to complete, like our procedures and so forth.
Right. Yeah. When he's going to put that on?
Yeah, it'll be on the agenda.
Can we have a 5-minute break?
Yes, so at this moment, we're going, is there a motion to adjourn?
No, pardon, before that, I have a liaison report here, and there's
Oh,
some
sure,
some
I'm
things.
sorry. You're right, I'm sorry.
Okay, EDC has created an empty buildings tour group that they're putting together a marketing plan for empty buildings here, so that'll be something soon.
Is there a date or you're going to tell us?
They're hoping to have their first event early May, I believe, where we're gonna visit some places, we're gonna invite people to come, try to get somebody from the Historical Society to tell us about some of these buildings and that kind of thing. There's a lot going on with that. The Hipsley Collective was very successful. Several of the vendors were trying to remain, so we lost one, but we got one. So,
Yeah,
we've lost the Pottery Place.
Bob, share with them the approximate amount of revenue that was generated.
$70,000 was
$70,000.
came into that building.
And we,
What building?
and we lost the
The
Pottery
Hipsley
Place?
building.
The Pottery
Where the-
Place is gone.
Oh,
Tawny Town. The
Oh.
rent went up.
okay.
Let's see, the Dorseytown annexation is having some issues. The costs and responsibilities are still not very clear today. So the council actually tabled the annexation at the request of mainly, I think, the citizens that were there, was that? And us not understanding. Things kept changing. It's like getting a red line document at 7:30 for a meeting that started at 7 o'clock. And it's just very difficult to deal with right now. Tom has been working tirelessly all month on this, and so we'll hopefully have something soon. From EDC, there's an issue with parking on Backacre Circle. EDC wants us to be very, very careful, okay, and not restrict future parking on Backacre Circle's inside radius, which is the business side of Backacre Circle. All of the residents are on the outside radius. It's the same kind of thing that when the gym first opened up out there, they just had problems figuring out people parking on the street. So, working on
They were
that.
told they can't park, so-
Huh? Yeah, we have no parking signs up on their side. So the town is allowing parking on the inside radius. And just some of the business owners were saying, please don't just willy-nilly restrict parking out there before we,
Real quickly.
I haven't given up.
Saw this
I
coming.
haven't given up the floor yet. Okay. And we did come to a decision that all liaisons are voting members of their commissions, and so Tom and I are working on that language now. And that's all I got. Thank you very much.
Just real quickly to clarify on that parking situation, if we actually close parking, right now, parking is allowed on that street.
Correct.
What is not allowed is business parking. You are required by site plan to provide your own off-street parking. The business in question is not providing its own off-street parking, and that is the route we were taking, not restricting parking on the street.
Right.
Private citizen can park there, and until the town council votes to shut off parking on that street, citizens still can. People going to that business actually cannot, but we're trying to work with them. I personally sat down there tonight, got out of my car and stopped a car that made a U-turn in front of me. It turned out to be somebody's babysitter that I knew, and I got an email from her mother. I said, oh, she looked familiar. But anyway, that's what it is. If I could just real quickly, I don't want the planning commission walking away with the wrong thought. I'm just gonna circle back 2 minutes if you could. When they were talking about that Wawa, we were all concerned about this entire corner going commercial. That's where you all were going. But actually, the 5-acre parcel does not go up to that
Right.
corner.
Right.
Yeah, this is all residential. It's this side that would flip over that borders I-70. So what I did tell the applicant when he comes back, if he's got a chance in heck, that he should show an overview of how it relates to the other properties, because you don't want these townhomes that are gonna be out in arms. There's a
Right.
chance of a 7-Eleven going across their entry.
Yep.
But by this design, there's actually not. There may be other concerns, but I didn't know this when they were speaking. I asked them to send this to you guys, just so you don't have a prejudice, an unwarranted prejudice.
Exactly.
Is that residential right now?
Yeah,
Yes.
this is this
Yeah.
part too, and they are not seeking to change this. And
So,
this is
but
what's
that
bordered
still
in.
means that commercial's butting right up to residential.
That still does mean that.
Okay.
It's-
That's part of what the Volz property owns, right? Wolf?
They
Boswell.
own this and then going out to 70, but
Okay.
this whole, I was worried about that corner up there,
Right.
across from the townhomes.
Yeah, but still,
that-
that's not that much distance.
I got you,
Yeah.
I got you, but just so you know,
Yeah.
you're gonna get this in your package for the next.
It's I just have a comment before we close. Pat, thank you for getting that. But these are things that if we had some sort of workshop or meet with the applicants that are coming into that meeting, instead of sitting here and kind of going over the things that we were going over, if we could go over them at that workshop before the Monday, he could have had all of that stuff together. We probably could have made a decision. It does cost them. Well, no, the applicants were here.
The residents were here.
Well, yeah, in this case, the residents weren't here, but what I'm saying is, and that's also the case, the residents can come to the workshop, whether we allow them to talk or not, it's a different story. But the residents, and it says so on our signs, the residents can also talk to the developer if they have an issue, or go to John, sorry, John, I'm going to put you in the spot. Go to John and say, I have an issue, I want to talk to the developer, or John can work something out where maybe they can meet with the developer. This would all help in expediting what we need to do. And I hate telling the people to come back because I know that there's time and money that's
I
been
just don't see a
spent.
lot of
Apparently that was-
transparency in that.
Right, well,
Well,
there was,
no, you- well, you-
actually, I didn't realize it, but that was the arrangement, was that for them to come tonight and then to come back, even they
Right,
understood that.
yeah, that, he understood that. Well, no, but the workshop, yeah, we have transparency because the workshop's got to be advertised.
Roxanne, we've discussed, we've discussed this, and it seems like some of us think that it should be the community and the developer, and then staff if they want to come. And you are prefer the other way. I don't like this way. I like the community and the developer getting together to iron out issues.
That's fine.
But
I
don't
think
like
that,
us
yeah, that's fine. I just think that we need to have,
Our charter calls for a process, and the town council can alter that process if they.
Okay.
You have a process. First, you meet with staff, you're in staff review, that's where Prospect Mill is, and some people don't like that, but you gotta get to staff review before you even see it.
Right.
So after you go through staff review and it clears all that, the APFO studies, that comes in. As soon as all that gets cleared, then it comes to you. Now, if you wanna change that process, that's something the town council is gonna have.
I think she's just talking about like the week before, because so Middletown, they do that. But then Annapolis and There was another one. Oh, Frederick.
That's called a conceptual.
Yeah.
That's part of.
Yeah, but
you have a
Annapolis
conceptual,
and
there's 5
Frederick
stages to an improvement
and Frederick
process.
City and Annapolis, they have meetings that the developer meets with the community, and it's not like.
That's what we're talking about.
So they iron out any.
They iron out-
potential issues. Yeah.
Right, but they iron out some of, it makes it less contentious, I think, when they're,
I don't think it was.
No, I think it's contentious.
No, not today, not today,
Oh, okay.
but sometime.
Okay.
I'm not talking general, I'm talking in general terms. But I mean, I think some meeting with the citizens, with the developer before.
But isn't that what this is? So like here today, if the citizens wanted to come, they were notified.
No, they
I
weren't
didn't
notified.
notify
They
them
weren't
by
notified.
postcards, but we
He
did post the
put the signs
property.
out.
Public hearing with the citizens.
That's not,
Thank you
I'm
very
not,
much, Mr. Mayor. We have a process for meetings, okay? We have work sessions. At work sessions, you don't necessarily have to recognize anybody but
That's true.
the
Exactly.
group
That's
that's
right.
here working.
That's right.
Okay, the citizens are allowed to watch, but like I said, it's your decision as to whether you want to recognize anybody. We have public meetings that are for the citizens. We have it all covered. It's in a process that we have. So we have all that stuff. I don't know that you want to go changing it around a whole lot, because right now it's the same for all of our commissions.
And it'd be a coordinating nightmare.
Right.
Trying to get people together.
okay.
One more last comments to you, ma'am?
I just have.
I'm sorry, Roxanne, were you finished?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just
Yes.
have like 2 questions. And Mayor Pat may be able to tell me this later on, but what I'm getting, and I'm new to all this, is that people present their business plan to you, and you think it's a great economic growth for the town of Mount Airy, and you approve all these new businesses or business
No,
plans?
we're not.
No.
We have no authority.
Okay.
We're not,
We have
we
no
don't
authority.
approve businesses, you can't.
Okay.
Yeah, we do planning, and it's got to fit within the current zone and/or the master plan. So we don't we don't approve business plans. It's whether it fits in with the zoning and things like that.
And it goes
Okay.
through a process, again, starts at the staff level.
So like the business is coming in, or the parking
Yeah.
lot that's coming in on Twin Arch Road, that was proposed to you previously, and then you guys said it's okay.
That was proposed tonight.
Proposed tonight, and you're gonna say yes to it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay? So I'm gonna use this as an example. The dance studio that's on Back Acre Circle,
Right.
which you just brought up, was that presented to you and approved? Or did it go through a process? Because now it's on Streets and Roads plate, causing issues for the community and so forth. So, I mean, I'm trying to get the gist of this. Are you saying okay to Twin Arch Road, the business being able to park his trucks there, and you're gonna say yes to it based on, if he does full, pull in frontward and pull out frontward, you're gonna say yes to that. But in 6 months after we've had 8 or 10 accidents, we're gonna have towns and roads involved in a process that maybe we should have had input from the beginning.
Well, some of that was fact, some of that was conjecture. Bonnie could probably speak to that. Bonnie, when, you may have identified an error, a flaw, that when somebody releases a property, they should actually come back through the town to make sure that their use is compliant with seating, fire code, and parking. They don't always do that, do they?
Well, if it's a change of use, we certainly, we'll look at it and zoning administrator make a determination whether it needs an updated site plan because maybe there's more parking required or.
They'll come back to
But dance studio, the thing about the industrial park that makes it difficult is a lot of those properties are zoned, or has a use classified as flex industrial. And there are so many different types of use with varying requirements, and it's hard to pinpoint flex industrial. And that's why when engineer comes in or the applicant comes in and they say, here's our plan, it's flex industrial, we're like, do you know what's going in it? Oftentimes they say, no, we don't know. It's just whatever they can get in there.
So you've identified somewhat of a flaw, like space is hard to identify.
Yeah, because we
Well, I think-
didn't per se approve a
I think
I think
dance.
she was talking about the bigger point of coordination between
Coordination,
commissions.
I mean, you're saying,
Like,
okay,
that's what she was getting at, was
Yeah,
that
the
we
coordination
say,
aspect
okay,
of
go
it.
ahead and go ahead, you can pull
And
in
then
and
it
out of
comes to
that
them.
lot, and then she's saying that we're going to have to deal with it on streets and roads. And I don't know what the answer is to that, because there is sometimes a lack of overlap, but I don't know. And that's what your whole point was. It wasn't the details, I think, of, no, I mean, but were you not talking about the coordination between the
He
two?
brought up the back acre circle about the parking, and that is a dilemma. That is a major part of streets and roads' issue right now. I mean, we get 35 people in here all, but you know what? I hate to say this, but I, like Mayor Pat did, I've been sitting outside that dance studio and watching the traffic. And I'm watching our Mount Airy finest be out there. And somewhere along the line, there's got to be a crossover. I mean, maybe it's because I'm new and I'm trying to figure this out, but if you knew how much turmoil this business is causing to the townhomes, and you're.
Yeah, I
working
live
on a
back there.
townhome.
But see, he does have parking back there. It's just that it became highly successful and it overflowed.
No,
And
actually, in the evening, of those 71 parking spaces, 46 are available after 5 p.m.
It's my
The
understanding
only
that there's.
time they don't have any availability is when the rest of the businesses are working from 8 to 5:30 p.m.
and that goes to enforcement.
Right,
But that goes to enforcement, like Pat said.
okay.
Well, ma'am, all we do is get plans, and all we can do is act on what the plans based in front of us.
But the plans that you're agreeing to have a trickle down. They really do. It's in every government.
And we do try to anticipate that.
Well, actually, we, before, when Heather was our administrator, before John came on, she created a whole matrix for us to make sure that we engaged all the other commissions, and then the liaisons were supposed to bring this to the commission. So we've just been like trying to get this followed up on. He's not the liaison to Streets and Roads.
No, it's,
It's now Patty, but
Patty
it
is.
was Pat Help, right?
But yeah,
So basically, no, I'm not saying,
I'm not
no,
pointing
but,
fingers.
but you're right. I mean, we're saying that you're right and that we should be coordinating, and we sort of have this, we have this thing that's created that's just gotten stuck and it hasn't like made it to all the commissions.
I'm just thinking that, these things, these businesses are being authorized or giving, the blessing of this community.
But that's not right either,
It
okay?
is, because you're
It is not.
Ma'am, please
You
listen to our
cannot-
town
There's
council.
no lawful way, if I have a lawful business and I go and buy a piece of property from him, as long as I follow the guidelines of the business, we're not, the town
we
is
can't
not
say
giving
no.
them a.
But you're allowing someone to put 15 commercial vehicles, what's deemed partially residential down there, is it not?
No.
Is there hardly no-
No.
That's
No.
industrial,
No.
right? Isn't that
No,
industrial?
that piece is industrial right there. It was
But
changed.
What I'm saying is, once that, and Mayor Pat's gonna tell you, I'm talking from passion, but it's gonna be frustration in 6 months, once that first car accident happens. And then it's gonna be streets and roads that are gonna be sitting here, listening to the community
And if
members.
it doesn't happen, are you gonna go down there and shake their hands and tell them attaboy?
Probably I would, that's the kind of person I would be. But that business that he's parking those trucks there, is that bringing any money to the community other than maybe?
Ma'am,
Does he pay
we need to
property
wrap this
tax
up.
on it?
Okay, so
Does
I'm
he pay
parking the
property
wrong
tax
tray.
on it?
Okay.
Yes, he
Roxanne,
does.
last point, and that's it.
I'd like to move to adjourn.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Is there a second to adjourn?
There's a second.
Okay. This meeting is now adjourned. It's 9:10. We have a workshop at 9:20 or 9:15?
9:15.
9:15. Okay. Be back here at 9:15.